All right. Before the break, we looked at, sort of very, very basic way of separating our business logic from a presentation, right? We said we want all our presentation code to go into our JSPs, and we don't want any logic in our JSPs, right? JSP, like I said before, we can have, so we can have whatever logic we want, like something like that, right? Here's some logic. It's not very interesting logic, but I can go over here and run. Oops, if the server were running. God, come on. Let's go. Let's go. I'm getting a rough start. It's getting to that point in the day where things just start not working the way that I want them to. Okay. All right. Yeah. So we've got some logic here. Right. This ho-ho was generated by Java. Right. This is actually a Java expression. 1 plus 1. Right. So I don't. This is what I don't want to see, right? I don't want to see any logic in my JSP files, and I don't want to see any HTML in my servlets, right? So the general pattern that we have, like we said, is that we figure out what sort of stuff we'll put into our view. Right now it's nothing, right? We haven't really talked about models yet, and then we dispatch to the view, right? So our controller, our servlet takes a request and says, okay, here is the view that's going to render, and we'll forward to that view, right? Okay, let's talk about models now, right? Because this isn't all that interesting yet. What if we wanted, let's see. What if we wanted to take a parameter, something like, hello servlet, question mark, name equals Dan, right? I want this thing to say hello Dan, right? So if we want this thing to take a parameter, well, that parameter would be a good candidate for something to put in the model, right? Okay, it's not coming from a database, right? Things that go into your model can come from anywhere. They can come from request parameters. They can come from just anywhere else in your environment, or or they can come from data that you've stored, right? In this case, let's say we're taking from a parameter. Yeah. So first of all, does anybody know how to get parameters from a servlet request?
Response.get
Request.
Request.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So string name, right, is equal to request.get parameter name, right? And I mean, hopefully that's not null, right? Okay. The way that we put this into this thing that we're calling a model, right? This is our data model that we're going to populate the JSP with, populate into the view, right? The way that we do that in servlet land, and this, like I said, servlets are a little bit clunky, but this this is the style that we do in servlets, is we say request.set attribute. Have you guys seen this before? Hands up. 1, 1. All right. Congratulations.
How else would you?
I don't know. Yeah, no, I mean, I think this is the only way to do it. So you would set an attribute called name and give it the name that we got, right? Okay. So when we do set attribute, that is what we call populating the model, right? How do we refer to it in the JSP? Oh, come on. We don't care yet. I know. Go away. Go away. All right. So how do I refer to it in the view, right? I want to say hello Dan or hello whatever.
put in the JSP tag.
I'll just use this expression language name, right? This $name, this thing is now in the model, right? We set it as an attribute for the request. So this is now in the model. Right. And this is really all that we mean by model view controller, right? Controller takes the request and figures out what to do. It assembles some data, it puts some data together from wherever, and sets it as attributes on the request. So that's what we say is setting the model. And then the view reads stuff from the model. That's it. So if we go and look at this, we say hello servlet name is Dan. Hello Dan, right? If we don't have a name, then it's just empty, right?
What is that dollar? I remember I used to use JSP, right? JSP tags.
Oh yeah, JSP tags. Yeah. So this is sort of, and I'm not going to talk too much about this, but just kind of rule of thumb. I could do like C:" out value equal, something like that. If I had the right thing defined, yeah. So you can do this with tags as well. I'm just going to keep it really simple.
You can do the same thing with the scripted tag, right? JSP script.
Oh, with a scriptlet tag, right? So I could do percent equal like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's sort of more primitive. You can do other things with that I don't want to necessarily be able to do. I want to really restrict myself for a number of reasons. But if only for the reason that I'm a masochist. So this is how it's going to look. And anyway, I mean this keeps it simplest, right? This totally avoids the temptation of putting any logic in our view, right?
What is it called?
Oh, this is called EL, meaning JSP's expression language, right? If we had, if name was some object and it had like a, get ID or get whatever, right? If it has some getters on it, I would just say .id, as if it was just a straight property, right? So we'll see some more. So if name, if it were some, just some object, and that object had like a get, some getter, like get ID or get whatever, I don't have to even say get. I can just say .id or .name or whatever. So just very simple language that makes this look like just some simple tree of objects that's in our model, right? Right. So here, name is the thing that's in our model. And that's it in a nutshell, right? This like I said, this is model view controller. Our controller is the servlet. Our model is whatever we put into the request attributes. So that's the controller and the model. And then the view is whatever thing we forward to. By the way, notice this business with the request dispatcher. Remember how I had to do this stuff in web.xml to do the servlet mapping or whatever. Even though it didn't look like I had to do it, in order for that request dispatcher to work, I do have to provide the servlet mapping. Otherwise, it doesn't know what the request dispatcher should be.
Expression language, right?
Mm-hmm.
That can only take variables, right?
Yeah,
you can't do Java stuff.
Yeah, you can't do arbitrary.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Okay, so that's MVC. I'm going to check this in, and then I'll give you an assignment. Git -a. Okay. Any questions on that, on this sort of programming discipline? Like I said, this is a design pattern, right? This is sort of, or like an architectural style. There's nothing that says you have to do this. It's just a way to keep your code clean. So it's a way to keep your code as, you know, relatively maintainable. Questions? Feel more or less happy with this? Okay. Good. With that being the case, the assignments that I'm going to give you then are, here, let's go back to my little task list. Hey, you're back. Okay, so here's day one, right? With class design, we've got contact address, we've got our contact repository and our address repository, we've got our setup, we've done all our JDBC stuff. Now, oh, we don't have phone numbers. Okay, so we have a lot of work to do, right? We want a servlet. So let me list all these for you, right? We want one servlet that's going to list all our contacts. Not the addresses necessarily, but just view their names, right? So just a list of contact names. And we want to be able to click on each individual contact to see details. So that's going to be another servlet. So two servlets. So the second servlet for details, we're going to need the contact's name and address, right? And that'll be sort of your first set of assignments, right? Following that, we're going to also be able to edit contacts and edit addresses and stuff. And add new contacts, right? This isn't any fun if we can't add new contacts, because obviously our list is going to be empty to start with. Right. So actually, let me think about which one to start with. Maybe add is probably the first the place where we should start, right? Or again, you can mock it in setup. That'll be the easiest thing to do. So assignment number one here. Let's actually I'll just give you a little stub here. All right. So here's the first servlet that you're going to write. Contact list servlet. Yeah. And all right, let me just stop this for now. Contact list servlet. So your contact list servlet is going to have what method again?
Display.
It's going to display, yeah. So do get, right? You're going to implement do get. What's going to be in the model? What things are you going to populate the model?
Contact object.
Well, it's going to be all the contacts, right?
Contact object.
So it'll be a list of contacts. Yeah. Yeah. So you're going to have a list of contacts, right? And okay, so that's what goes into the model. And then what's the view going to look like? Actually, there's something. Yeah. So we need to iterate. There's something that I haven't yet given you in the view. So actually, let me. Sorry, I apologize. There's something I need to give you first, which is a little. Oops. A tag lib. Let's say, all right, let's go over here. Let's go back to our JSP. This is the one other thing that we're going to allow in our views is uses of the JSTL, which is the JSP standard tag lib. Again, I'm not arguing that JSP is awesome, because I don't believe it is. But let's, I want to give you an example of how to use this tag lib. So let's say our hello. Let's see, how do we want to do this? Let's say our hello is going to take a list of names. Our hello world servlet will take a list of names. Okay. So hello world servlet. How do we want to get a list of names? They need to be separated by something, but I think they can't be comma separated because then they're different request parameters. So let's say they're separated by dots. All right, here's what our use pipes. Yeah, pipes is better. Thank you. Yeah, so here's what our use case is going to look like. We'll say hello question mark names equals Dan pipe Hamish.
We can just do get all, right? Find all. We have find all, right, in contacts.
We do, but we're not there yet. I'm still in Hello World. Yeah, I want to give a Hello World example. So as to not give away any of the real code, right? James, right? So our input is going to look like this. I don't have it running right now, but that's fine. So we're going to have a names parameter. And it's going to be an array of names, right? Names. And we'll just split on the pipe character, like that, right? So this, I'm trying to come up with an example of where you would need to iterate through a list of things, right? So here's we're gonna get a list of names into the model, and then the way that we deal with that in the model is using this C colon for each. This is a little looping construct, right? It's very, very similar to the for each tag in Java, right? So we'll say for each var is equal to name in oops, names, right? So we're gonna have a big greeting for everybody individually. And this is, let's format this a little bit. So for each name in names, right, we'll say hello name. This is how that looks. So hopefully, if I run this, it ought to work. Because usually we're gonna complain about, right? Whoa! Awesome. I think I know what's wrong. This is like a special character. It's a regex, of course, right? There we go. Yeah, so that's how we iterate, right? We use this this for each. So this should be all that you need. I'll check this in as well. All right. Now you should be able to write this code. Okay. So your first assignment is going to be to write the contact list servlet. So contact list servlet, and like I said, you can in your setup code, just for testing purposes, you can just pre-populate it with some list of contacts. We don't even care about the addresses because we don't need them yet. We just need names. Right, so you can just keep your your addresses as null. Okay. So again, what are the things that you need to write? There's two. Just two things that you need, right? What are the two things?
All contacts and what do you write?
Yeah, what things do you need to write? Right, you need contact list servlet, And
The model.
the model is sort of in there somewhere. You also need a JSP, right?
JSP.
Yeah. So that's the idea. You need the contact list servlet and the contact list JSP. Okay?
Where was that abstract?
Sorry, I'm going to repeat the question for the recording anyway. So if you call super.doGet in your implementation of doGet, well, what is the base class's implementation of doGet or doPost or doPut or whatever? What do you suppose they do by default?
Nothing. Shouldn't be doing
Oh, it's worse than nothing. Or I mean, depending
It's
on
like
how
an
you.
abstract method, right?
It's not abstract.
So it's not abstract, but it's supposed to be an abstract where, so it's not allowed. Basically.
Well, it's yes, not allowed, right? So you get this 405 method not allowed. That's the default implementation for all of these, do get, do post, do put. Why? Well, because anything that you haven't overridden probably is an invalid method, right? You don't want, do post to return 200 OK if you haven't implemented it. So that's the rationale, right? The super, like the default implementation of like HTTP servlet.doGet or do whatever will be method not allowed because it assumes that anything that you haven't overridden is bogus. Anything you have overridden, well, you don't want to call the base class.
Why did they make it as extend? They should have made it as an interface, right?
If they made it an interface, then you would have to implement all of the methods. And you would have to say, for all of the ones that you don't care about, you would have to say 405, 405, 405, 405.
Or make it private.
Or something, right? So that was sort of the design decision there. Yeah. Yeah, so don't call super, right? The super implementation is exactly the opposite of what you want. By the way, we'll notice obviously when we move to Spring that it works very differently. When we're implementing controllers using Spring, we're not overriding methods at all. We're doing it's all annotation driven and dependency injection based. So basically, if a method doesn't exist, then it doesn't exist. Sort of very different programming model. All right. So let's do this together now. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm actually going to start with my JSP. I just copy and pasted from the hello one, because copy and pasting is always the right answer. Right. So I'll just have like contacts. Right. That'll be my header. Let's even have title, head, contacts. Right. So what things, basically when I start from my view, that sort of tells me which things I am going to want in my model, right? Right. So in my view, what do I need? Yeah, I need so contacts, right? That's going to be my model, right? It's my list of contacts. And each contact is going to be what?
Contact.name.
Yeah, contact.name. So what I can actually do here, let me make a list, make a UL. I mean, this is not going to be like gorgeous web design here, right? This is very Web 1.0. This is so not Web 2.0. So I'll make an LI, and what are we going to have? Well, they're going to be links, right? Each of these is going to be linked to a details page. So it'd be like a href equals something. I don't know. Just leave that blank for right now. And then it's going to be what? Contact.name. Yeah. Again, remember, contact is an object that has a getName method, but since we're using this nice little expression language, we can just say contact.name. Right? Okay. So that's oops. So that's the view. I think that's basically all that I need in the view, with the exception of this link. We'll get back to the link, figure out what we want the link to be later. Right. Okay, so then what about the servlet? Well, actually, I guess the easy thing for me to do would be to just copy again. Contact list servlet, right? So contact list servlet will be /contacts, right? /contacts is a good place to start. It's going to have a do get, and here, let's toss all this crap out. So we said we wanted the contacts in the model. Contacts, right? How do we get them?
Contact repository.
From contact repository. So we can actually just hang on to a contact repository, right? So I'll have a private final contact repository. Contact repository is equal to new contact repository, and I can be guaranteed that this servlet will have a valid contact repository by the time that it loads up, because setup will have already run. Right? All right. So now all I need to do is just contact repository dot get find all, right? So I'm going to ignore this exception for just a moment. The request dispatcher is going to go to contact list.jsp, right? And this is basically the code. So the only thing that I really need to do is deal with this exception, right? We said that SQL exceptions were somebody else's problem. Well, now it's our problem. Yeah. All right. So try. Yeah, I could. I'm being stupid. Yeah. We could say edad print stack trace. Actually, probably the best thing to do, probably the correct thing to do, is not this.
It'll still not fill up, right? If it gets an exception.
Not.
What exception are you handling?
Handling the SQL exception from contact repository find all. Yeah. So what I actually want to do to handle this is throw a servlet exception. So I'm going to repackage this SQL exception as a servlet exception, which again is sort of like saying it's somebody else's problem. What it allows us to do is anytime we have a problem, we will see it in the servlet's response. We'll see, a HTTP 500 response containing the body of that exception. So that's a good thing to do. Throw new servlet exception e. Right? Did anybody have this idea? This is a tricky one. Anybody have this?
So it'll actually basically throw that stack dump on the web page, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is a bad idea, unless you're debugging it.
Yeah. I mean, right. Normally, you don't want your production web application to be throwing stack dumps, because then it's sort of a security issue. But yeah, for our debugging sake, we'll say this is a good thing.
So it'll take the SQL.
Yeah, it'll take our SQL exception and wrap it in a servlet exception. So it'll be one of those things where it says like servlet exception thrown by doGet caused by SQL exception. Right?
So the full stack trace?
Yes. Yep. All right. So the only other thing that we need, I guess, is some contacts and setup, right? So Uh, uh,
Will it allow you? Foreign key?
yeah, I think it's okay. I think a null foreign key is okay because we haven't said that it's not nullable. All right, let's try it. I need to clean first this time, so let me edit my configuration here. Let's do a clean Jetty run. Run this in the debugger here. All right, here we go. Uh-oh. Invalid character value for cast. What? I've got a bug. I've got a bug in my code somewhere. That's not cool. Convert to number. You know what?
Yeah, you can even.
Yeah, this isn't okay. All right, so we'll just put 0, even though it doesn't exist yet.
No, this won't allow it. That's a database exception.
String.
0L. I don't think this should.
Yeah,
This should throw an exception.
we'll see if this works.
Yeah, this should not work.
I think it will. I think it will. Maybe. I don't know. Let's try. Oops. Try running it. No, it's okay. Oh, no, it's not okay.
It should not work because it's
Integrity constraint, yeah, foreign key. Okay. Oh, everything's ruined.
You need to have
All right,
an
fine. I
address.
actually need to have an address. Oh, bummer. All right. I don't care at all.
Should be fine.
All right. This is a horrible, horrible hack, but I think it'll work. This still won't, though. I need to restart. Right. This problem will go away when we can actually start creating our own contacts. Let's see if it works. Contacts. There we go. Contacts. All right. Presto. Okay. All right. Let me delete this terrible code again. I don't want that getting checked in. But this is good enough to check in, I think. Right? We have a contact list servlet. Right now, by default, it's just going to be empty. So the next thing that we need to do is be able to populate some contacts, right? So let me commit this, and I'll give you guys your next assignment. We might not completely finish all this stuff up tonight, but it's fine. It won't take a whole lot more time in the morning tomorrow. Oh, whoops. Oh, and sorry, the other thing that I want to do is I want to remove hello world. Source main Java com servlets hello. I don't want that anymore, and I don't want hello anymore either. Okay, so it thinks that was a rename, but that's fine. All right. Okay, so push that. All right, next one is going to be a little bit different, right? Next one is going to be a post. We need to actually implement, this is going to be sort of two servlets in one. We need a way to display a form for adding a new contact. So that's one thing. Here, let me sort of make a little note here. Form page add contact. Actually, let's say contact question mark add, right? So we're going to have a contact servlet, and it's going to take a parameter. Where if it's add, then we'll see a form page that's going to have a few fields, right? For the contact's name and also for the contact's address information, right? So we're going to have a contact servlet with a get method that checks out and sees if it's an add, and if it's an add, its view will be add contact.jsp, right? So that's the form page. It'll also respond to posts. So that's the get. If you post to contact add, then it will add the contact, right, to DB and redirect. Yeah, it'll redirect to something. Yeah. For now, we can just redirect to the contact list. That's fine. The way that we do redirect is a little bit different from what we've seen so far, right? We don't do forward. We don't do request dispatcher.forward. We actually do a proper HTTP redirect. I'll show you how to do that when we get there. Okay. First part is just this half, right? This assignment has two halves. Is have a contact servlet, right? Oops. Let me refresh this project. So we have a contact list servlet. Now we're also going to have a contact servlet, right? This is going to be the thing that will deal with individual contacts, right? Contact list servlet it deals with the whole thing. Contact servlet deals with one at a time. Contact servlet is going to have, a do get and a do post, but we'll only worry about the get for now. Okay.
So why don't we do forward for redirect? Is it because we don't want it in the back button?
No, sort of a different sort of a different reason.
But if you do forward, it should work, right?
If we do forward, it will work for some. It'll behave a little bit odd. We'll talk about it.
So the form would be in both of those, or?
The form is in this one. The handler, there's no UI for it all, right? It just responds to a post request and then redirects to contact list. Redirect back to contact list. Okay. All right. So let's work on this now together. So I've got this add contact.jsp, and I'm just, again, just kind of copy and pasting the HTML outline a little bit. So just say title is add contact, right? So what sort of things do I need in my HTML? This is, HTML primer, right?
Input type text.
Yeah. Yeah, I need some inputs. Those all need to be inside a form, right?
Yes. Form, top level form.
So form, right? So form action. What's the action?
Contact or whatever.
Yeah. So contact question mark add, right? That's, like I said, this is what we're going to be posting to. Method is equal to post, right? Yeah. So that's how this form is going to work, right? All right. Okay, so name. We're gonna have an input type equal text, right? Oops. Name is equal to name, right? All right, now I'm gonna be fun. So name, what? Actually, we need a few things, right? Name, street. Yeah. So we're adding. We're not just adding contacts here, right? We're adding contacts with their addresses. Name, street, city, state, and zip, right? State and zip, right? And actually, I want to do this slightly differently. I want to have an input type equal hidden. So we'll just do add that way, right? So I think that's okay. I think it's okay like that. Yeah, I'm not running right now. Okay. And so we want to display this. Well, first of all, what's in the model?
Is it given by the user?
Nope.
The get or the post?
Here, the model that's going to populate this view.
There should be nothing.
Nothing. Yes, correct answer. Yeah, yeah, nothing. Right? There's no model. So this servlet will be very easy, or easy in that way at least. Right? So I've got this contact servlet, which is going to extends HTTP servlet. Right? We've got to do the usual nonsense with this serial version UID. We're going to say this is a web servlet that listens on /contact, right? And it has a do-get, right? So source implement do-get. It's also going to have a post, so I'll put this in here for now. Okay. Right. Calling super in do post right now, that's actually fine because we haven't implemented it yet. Okay, for do get, what do we need to do?
Just forward.
Just
Okay,
forward,
just check the parameter.
but yeah, we do need to check the parameter because, like I said, this method is actually going to handle a few different possibilities, right? If we call get on /contact, Well, we might be trying to actually get details about a contact. In this case, we're trying to get the add view. So we need to do if request.get parameter add is not null, right? If the request.get parameter is not null, then we can forward.
Forward.
Yeah. So how do we do that?
Dispatcher. Request dot.
Yeah, and in fact, I don't think I need to even really do anything too special. I can just say request.get,
Get dispatcher.
no, sorry, get request dispatcher for, what's the view name? JSP slash add contact.jsp dot forward request response, right? That's it. For else, well, for else, maybe we'll, I don't know. We're not handling it yet, right? So let's just do nothing. I mean, that's fine. We can do nothing. Or even better, we can say super dot do get request response, which is sort of not quite rest correct, but it's a decent approximation. It'll give us a 405 not allowed, right? Okay. Yeah, we can throw an exception or just say response dot set status. Yeah, we can do something reasonable, right? Let's say to do, right? Okay, let's make sure this works. All right. So contacts. How about contact question add? Aha, add a contact. Oh, I'm clearly missing something from this form.
Submit.
Yeah, I need a submit button. All right, this is why we debug. What is it? Value? Or is it it's title, right? Can't remember.
No, you just close the input tag and put whatever text you want.
Oh, it's just inside
Yeah,
the tag. Oh. I think value. There, do value. Add. There we go. All right. And the other problem that we have, well, here let's do another one. Let's actually say let's have a link back to the contact list just in case you don't want to submit, right? And then from the contact list, we also want a contact slash add, contact add. Right. Let's see. All right, that's better. It's good that this reloads on the fly, right? Back to contact list. Okay. All right. So cool. We have just enough time left in the day to actually implement this post, right? This post right now, if I just do add, we'll get this 405, right? I have my do post, but I just call super.doPost in it, and super.add anything gives us a 405. So that's the other part of this assignment. If we post to contact add, we need to add this new contact to the database. We need to create a contact, create an address, persist them both, and then redirect. So you should actually, you know what? I think you should be able to figure out how to do all of that yourselves. Redirect I haven't shown you, but you should be able to find it. Is anybody feeling lost? Do you see where we're going?
Can you do that, actually?
Which?
The second one, other than keeping it as an assignment?
Oh, no. I want to give it to you guys.
Okay. Or would you do it tomorrow?
I mean, yeah. Certainly, we'll finish out the day. Yeah, yeah. We'll take the next 5 minutes or so to do this, and then I'll write it, and we'll sync up. Yeah. And that'll be it for the day. It's a long day. All right, let's finish this up. I know I didn't give you guys a lot of time, but I don't want to keep you too late today because we've still got a long week ahead. So let's do this, right? We've got do post, and we'll do the same thing in our do post, right? If request if request get parameter add is not null, then what are we going to do?
Get the address and contact information in the form.
Yeah, we need to actually get all the information from the form that we need, right? So the first thing that we need is we need to store the address in the database, right? So let's figure out how to do that. Address. Oops. Oh. Address equals a new address, and we conveniently created this constructor for ourselves. So what do we need to do?
Request.get parameter.
Yeah, so we need to get parameter for all of those things, right?
Name.
Get parameter for street, city, state, and zip, right? So that's going to be our address. Then
Contact.
we need
No,
to,
city.
well, we need to persist this, right? So we need a repository, right? We need the address repository. And it's a little bit weird, you know, so this, I'm going to actually mark this down as an oddity here, JDBC pain points. Joins, right? A couple of you guys mentioned this already, right? Right, we have entities that are referring to each other, but we don't really have a good way of dealing with it right now. We could construct a good way of dealing with it, but it'd require a bit of work. So right now, our contact servlet has an address repository, which is just, it's a little weird, right? Yeah, address repository. Contact.
Is there like an easy way to get a singleton class? Or you have to implement the factory and all of that?
We'd have to implement the factory. A good way to do this would actually be with enums, like enum singleton, because we only have a certain number of repositories. Yeah. But we're going to do even better than that with Spring. So that'll be the good news. Okay. So oops. I know. Stop. Go away. Okay. So address repository dot create address. Cool. All right. So we've saved the address. Once again, SQL exception. So let's try. again, I'm just packaging my servlet exception, or packaging my SQL exception up in a servlet exception so that I don't have to deal with it.
So I forgot, in Java, you have to have a new, or you could just throw a servlet exception?
You have to have a new, yeah. Yeah, yeah, because these are just objects. Contact is equal to new contact request.get parameter name, right? And address ID. So since we've done create, we should have an address ID now, right? Address.get ID. Right? So we've created an address, we've created a contact, and now the last thing to do is redirect. Yeah, so response.send redirect to contacts. Right? So we're gonna tell the client, tell the web browser that, okay, you know, we're done doing what we did, so just now redirect the browser back to our main contact list, right? So hopefully now we'll get something that's actually good,
So it'll list
good to
all
play
the
with.
contacts, right?
Yeah. Oops. Here we go. Wish us luck. All right. Contacts. Okay. So we've got an empty list of contacts. We'll add a new one. What was the zip here again? I'm glad you're still here. All right. Add. Hey, all right. Of course, the address doesn't matter because we can't view it yet. But you know, sure enough, we're back at our contact list, and you can see we've got this this contact in the list. So huge success, right? The URL that this goes to is nothing useful. That's fine. We haven't really done anything with that yet. So we can keep adding contacts. Here, let me put my dog in here.
But the contacts should actually be giving out the full list of address, street, and
We haven't implemented that. Our contact list was just names. So I'll put my dog's name is Tesla, so I'll put my dog in here. There we go. All right. So this is working, right? And again, if we want to go back to our little database script deal, our log, we can see that, you know, this is actually doing what we had wanted it to do, right? When we set up, we create the address table, we create the contact table, and now in our transactions, or in our servlets, sorry, we are creating addresses, creating contacts. Here's, you know, for Tesla, I didn't give my dog a home address, although I probably should have. So we just have a ID of 1 and contact Tesla. Right? So it's working. Right. We've got a little bit more front-end development to do in the morning tomorrow. That's fine. It'll be easy stuff. We want to be able to edit contacts, and we also want to be able to view the details for contacts. Right?
Show me the redirect code.
Sure. Just one line. Oops. Where did it go?
Contacts. Go to the top. This is the contacts one, right?
This is contact servlet. This is the one for individual contacts.
Okay. Where is the contact? That's a contact list, right? That's the list. Okay.
Yeah. So this redirects back to that contact list servlet. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to check this in and let you guys go. Are there any questions? No. You guys following okay? Do you want me to like slow down, speed up?
I think it's good.
Good. All right. Well, let me know. You know where to find me. Commit. finished add contact. Did I forget something? Shoot. All right, now we're good. I hate it when I forget to add files. Okay, cool. I'll see you guys. See you guys in the morning. Start at 9:30. Try to be on time. Because there aren't that many of us, so I feel weird waiting. Okay, so again, plan for tomorrow is let's see. Let's get back to our outline here. Plan for tomorrow is to finish up. First thing that we'll do is finish up our front end code, which will make us official full stack J2E developers. Will be awesome. And then what I want to do is really get into the meat of the course. We're going to start addressing these JDBC pain points. We're also going to start noticing servlet pain points, right? Our servlet and JSP code has been pretty reasonable so far, but the more that we get into it, the more that we're going to find that our code could use some better structure. So we'll start compiling a list of servlet pain points as well. All right. So we'll trade one problem for another as we try to implement more and more functionality in our code here. Okay. Cool, guys. See you in the morning.